Welcome to this edition of Insights with Ovations. I am your host, Aaron Ellis. I am joined today with Rich the Trigger Bontrager, or just Rich Trigger Bontrager. I like the Trigger. Anyway, that's my personal spin on it. Rich has a remarkable career spanning over 30 years as a talk show host, broadcaster and producer, a sports play-by-play commentator, media brand expert, keynote speaker, and a pastor. He is the founder of Rock the Stage Media and has worked and collaborated with notable speakers, leaders, and authors like Dennis Waitley, Sandra D. Robinson, Jeff Hazlitt, and many more. He has a passion to help leaders shine and make a significant impact in their company and the world. Rich, welcome to the show.
Aaron, thanks for having me. Great to be here, man.
Yeah, I'm glad we hit record because we could have kept going behind the scenes when nobody was listening to us. So
sometimes the best time is backstage and people don't know it.
I've thought about recording that and actually repurposing it later because I've done that when I was a host for a TV show. Anyway, that's a rabbit hole. Let's get on point here. So I love to hear people's path. Like, what led you to what you're doing today? I know you have a vast career, right? And I know you said you talk about your stutter and stuff, but share with us what really ignited your passion and led you to what you're doing today.
Well, Harry Carey in Cubs baseball. Really, I grew up in Indiana, and I would listen on my transistor radio at age 10 in my bed at night, being told to go to bed, but I would listen to Harry Carey describe the game. I could smell the popcorn. I could feel the breeze. When the batter dug in, it was theater for the mind through the microphone of radio, and I fell in love and said, I want to do that. The only thing was I had a horrible stutter, and I was told I was never, ever going to be able to do anything that, and I said, watch me. So I learned tips and tricks, and I fell in love with this. And then now I help people literally learn how they kind of have confidence on camera, confidence on mic, create shows, because there's power in media and it helps every company grow and grow and grow.
I love that. I know there's more to that story. We only have 20 minutes. I've already decided we're going to book you again just because I think there's a lot of rabbit holes. But tell me about, and let me finish my thought here because I always have thoughts around stuff when people use the term rock. So Rock the Stage Media. Tell me about that. And just as a joke reference, I don't know if you saw the commercial back at the Super Bowl a couple of years ago where people were in the office space were like, you're a rock star. And then Gene Simmons or Paul Stanley popped and said, you're not a rock star, I'm a rock star. So being a rock star myself, I always like to bring that up. But share about Rock the Stage Media for us.
Yeah, it does not have anything to music. And I never had the long hair, but I do love rock and roll. It's because that's my personality. Those words come out of me all the time naturally. And people just said, he's a rock and cool guy. Yeah. And then the brand name Trigger came along because no one ever gets Bontrager right. So this short, quick, pop off, excitable guy named Trigger is around you. You got to rock it. You got to have fun. You got to crush it.
Yeah. I love that. So what do you do with Rock the Stage Media? Tell us a little overview of what you do with people.
So Rock the Stage Media, part of it is a Rock the Stage show. That's one of the foundational pieces. I interviewed celebrity experts from around the world. You mentioned some of those that I've worked with and had on the show. My thing is not just a celebrity interview. I want to hear those personal stories of passion, their causes, their charities. I want to hear what they're doing off stage with what they got on stage. Besides that, we literally help you create your TV shows, your audio video podcasts, and I trained you on how to literally shine here. People are nervous. People are scared, but they are drawn to this like a moth. They want to learn how to do it, but they don't know how to do it. I want you to shine on camera, shine on stage, and elevate you and your brand. So I come in to help you literally learn what I know how to do.
Can you share with us an example of maybe a client or two that, like, the issues that you faced with them, like whether it was fears or typically around fear and doubt, from what I'm understanding, what you faced and how you helped them, maybe some of the tips and tricks and the shift that they had?
Well, a lot of businesses during pandemic, of course, went online and they had no idea what to do with a Zoom call, a virtual encounter. I worked with a major insurance agency, and the CEO didn't know what he was doing, but he was told you need to do it. I worked with his top leaders, his top ring of leaders, on how to look at the camera, use your hands and don't have them freak out, body language, how to use branding on your screen, how to have conversations, not grilling or sales discussions to make you hit the bottom line, but talk and make it personal. They literally took that to the entire company after the top 10 got it. And one guy had never been on camera through pandemic, refused to do anything of a salesman shop, was in his junky t-shirt, a hoodie, eating Cheetos in his basement, he said. And during my training session, he literally said, "You got me. I'm buying the camera, I'm buying the green screen, I'm buying all this, and I am going to do this." His sales went to #1 after he learned what he learned because he didn't know and he was afraid of it all. Those are the type of things that go in the company that literally help you learn how to become TV-esque and learn how to have this TV style that attracts people deeper into what you're selling, talking about, educating about, and people want to learn more when you do it right.
Wow. Cheetos in the basement to #1.
Yeah.
I love that. No, I want to pull something out of something I read and something I said too. I talked about you make a significant impact.
Yeah.
What is your definition of significant? Can you give an example of that significant impact as well? But I want to hear your version of significant.
Very interesting. I literally just launched a new episode this weekend, and my guest, Diana Wentworth, literally talked on this with me. She's had an amazing career, television, everything, traveled the world. She literally says, "I want a life that's more about impacting and helping people have a significance, not having success."
Yes.
And the idea is here that you seek fame, fortune, dollar signs, all this stuff. But significance to me is, it's like the old TV commercial, E.F. Hutton. For those of us that remember E.F. Hutton, he would walk in the room was silent, he would speak, and everyone stopped. And it's like, he's speaking. Let's listen because we're going to get something really good. Significance is that you have that ability to bring something to light and help somebody else out. It could be completely free, a private conversation, but people know you're the one that can help them. To me, that's significance.
Now, this is, I love where you're going with this because this is where this goes into one of the things that I speak on too. So, what's your perspective on how significance leads to success? And if I were to ask you which is more important, significance or success, and that word important can throw people off, but what are your thoughts?
Well, significance to me far beats success because I can be significant in a small group of people's life. When I was a pastor, I was significant in people's marriages, life, children's struggles, but it was just my church.
Yeah.
Now you talk about the success side, you can scale and grow and grow and go, but there's always someone else going to come to take you out. Significance to me is people still know they can call me. Significant is there's something innate in me. When I was in the C-suite with Jeffrey Hazlett, working on his media team, more comments came out about, "I got a question about life, Rich." Now, I'm not in the full-time ministry. I'm not doing it anymore, but there is something that is significant about how I conduct myself and show up. People felt like they could trust me and go to a personal question that had nothing to do with business. To me, that's part of that significance that draws people in. You always can't name it, label it, bottle it, but it's there.
How does significance then lead to success for people? Or maybe if you believe that?
So I think it's the domino effect. People literally say, "There's this guy, Rich. You need to go talk to him," because they hear your problems, they hear your struggles, and they go, "I don't have the answer for you, but I do know a guy, and he made an impact in my life. So you need to call him. Here's his email." And then you literally, that's where the success grows. You get in the right room to the right people, and it keeps growing because everyone finds out he's made an impact. He's significant. And to me, you just can't plan that journey sometimes. I've had doors open that I had no business getting into, and rooms and people, but it's because someone else set me up to walk in because they said, "This is the guy you got to talk to." Trigger's the guy.
Yeah. Let me ask you one more question around this, and it's more of a if this makes sense to you, because this is a topic that I love to talk on, right? So when I saw that word significant, I'm like, I got to ask him what he means by that. So one of the things that I share with people too is that I tell them to focus on significance, the things that money can't buy. And by doing so, you will be able to buy more of the things that money can buy. Yes. And what I mean by that, and I'm sure you'll agree, is that you can buy a great bed, but you can't buy a good night's sleep. You can buy a house, but that doesn't buy a home, right?
Right.
And so on and so on. And honestly, the most important factor of that, though, is my definition of success is maximizing our gifts, talents, and attributes. So you are the most significant topic, the most significant subject in your world, technically. And understanding that and that level of significance just naturally leads to success. So, thank you for letting me share that, because it's such an inspiring topic.
Oh yeah.
Your perspective on what I just shared.
No, thank you again, because people are wanting this, the fame, the glory, and how many stars, football players have disappeared after they stepped off the playing field, the
Yeah.
movie set. They weren't significant. They were here. They were flash. I want to be significant at the end of my life. That guy made an impact. He made a difference, and we'll never forget it.
Yeah, yeah. As we talked about beforehand, I toured for 25 something years and played some of the biggest stages. But what meant the most to me is I'll run into people now who I played for years ago, right? When I had long hair. And after they realize who I am, they come up and say, like, you know what? You stayed for an hour and talked to me about my son and he was suicidal. But it's stuff like that. They said, I remember your conversation, things you said. I'm like, wow, right? And I love this topic. So we could have a whole episode on just significance. And
I love it.
So let me ask you this. Let's move into a couple other things. You mentioned this in the beginning about you learned some tips and tricks yourself.
Yeah.
Can you share some tips and tricks with the audience that help people cut through the noise, help them stand out, help them be more significant and gain more success?
Yeah. One of the things is just be you. And that's something I had to learn and go through again from my stuttering, some of my other physical issues. I've had to go off. I've had a lot of medical stuff, but I have to believe myself and be comfortable in my own skin. I know who I am. Trigger is the brand name. Rich Bontrager is who I really am. And there's two different personas that come up, but I have to be okay with myself to be who I can be for you and the best version for my family, my friends, everything. But getting confidence in your own skin is probably number one. Number two is don't believe all the press lines, the headlines, and the feedback you get. A lot of it is just fluff and junk. People will blow smoke and people will criticize because a lot of the time they're jealous. They don't understand. To me, stay in the middle ground. There's truth on both sides. Stay in the middle and you will navigate all this a lot better. The sky is not falling every day, and I'm not going to the moon every day. It's a lot easier to stay in that middle center point. And then, really, I come from a place of service. When I tell people I help you shine on camera, shine on stage, that's not a tagline. I've been doing this for so long. I literally want you to fly and succeed and go as far as you can. And I will cheer you on and help you as much as I can. It's a great joy to me. So to me, it's that, what are you good at? What are you called to do? What's that thing? Stick to that thing. And you'll be in the sweet, best place of life forever. And people, again, will love you for it.
So let me ask you this. Have you worked with, I know you have because Jeff, obviously, but have you worked with people who are like a C-suite, right? And they need to present better to their employees and so they want to be more dynamic. Can you share some examples of that and how you've worked with, like, in the corporate realm and help those leaders become more impactful leaders?
Well, and for all of our CEOs and friends out there, I'm going to say this very gently, but it's very truthful. Often you're in the not best spokesman for your organization, but you want to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need coaching. That's what I come into. Otherwise, I also coach and advise you. Who's the other room? Who's the other person in the room that is your spokesman? Empower them to go do it, because you're not it. Now, if you are it, it's presence. Executive presence we talk about, but now there's camera presence, there's microphone presence. You don't scream into a microphone, you project, you exude excitement and fun. You learn how to do it, but there's body gestures, there's eyes. You want to talk to a person, not to a wall, not anyplace else. And that was one thing we learned through Zoom, through pandemic. People said it would never be intimate. It became one of the most intimate places to be in a Zoom box with other people talking to them in their living room.
Yep.
And that was the other thing. Bring your personal life into this. CEOs are often, and again, I've been there, we separate ourselves from our teams and from our people because we want to be in that place of authority and position. They want to know you have the same questions, the same doubts. You roll over at night questioning the budget, the line item, that new project. They want to hear your heartbeat. So part of this is now the transparency that you need to do, whether it's live in person or through video. They can tell a fake. They can smell a fake. The more authentic you are, the more influential of a leader and trusted leader you will be. And now through the power of media, and streaming content, it's more important than ever.
Yes, yes. Little funny memory from the COVID days and stuff when I was working with some different organizations who were trying to keep their teams going virtually. We were talking about this kind of engagement on Zoom calls. And one guy, one of our calls, was like, you know what my problem is, Aaron? When I would get stressed out in a meeting, I would just kind of look around the room and just like I was checking in on everything. I
Yes.
can't do that on a Zoom because if I start doing this, everybody thinks I'm not paying attention to the meeting anymore.
Well, and just to go there for a second, since the media has really taken over everything, executive presence on camera is so important. And people are still literally, their heads are at the way bottom of the screen. They think
Yeah.
it looks really good.
Cut off here. Yeah.
You have to stand as if you own this stage. This is not a video room. This is the most powerful new stage you have. You have to learn to play here and dominate this. And that's a big coaching thing because people are not TV ready, camera ready. I've got 30 years of this. Most people do not.
I love it, man. I pulled down the title of one of your talks when I was looking at your website. I'm curious on this one. I wrote a good leadership risk to take. What is that risk?
That's one of my favorite keynotes that people call me on. People always deal with the bad. There are 4 good leadership risks to take. And I won't give it all away, but one of them is you need to risk more than people think necessary. And more, we're seeing the reversal right now. We're seeing people scared, apprehension. We talked about that backstage about the insecurity right now of people. We need visionary leaders. We need leaders that will step out and lead and say, I have a bold, crazy vision. And visionaries like myself, we see the end product. I can see the room. I can see the colors. I can smell it. It's the journey in between that we need our teams to come along with.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to figure out how far out in front, how far you stay with them, but you need to risk bigger than people think necessary because people are not going to sign on for a small project anymore. They don't want to do a small thing. They don't want to do a great thing.
Yeah.
And so leaders have rolled back. They're not taking bold risk anymore. I say, no, shoot for the moon. Let's go big.
Totally agree.
And then I got 3 others.
Yeah, we'll save those. We'll save those. But thank you for sharing that. So I always also love to just to point out the personal. I am a big advocate of people learning and literally integrating into their business communities and their cultures that personal and professional are not separate.
Yeah.
Whether it's positive or negative things people are going through, really creating a culture of understanding and addressing human issues, not just the way they're labeled. But who is Trigger? Family man, kids? What do you like to do in your off time? Like, who are you on the personal level?
So I'm a very family man. Now my family's scattered all over. They're all grown up. They've all got babies and everything else. But I am also a guy that literally becomes your best friend really, really fast. I'm a people person. Always have been a people person. Whether it's traveling in my own backyard, at Walmart, I love people. So the best thing you can do is get a drink in my hand, sit down someplace in the back lawn, and let's just talk and have a good time. I love hearing people's stories. That's why I got into broadcasting. I am a story seeker. I want to hear and know about you. And then people start asking me about me, but I always turn it back down around to you. I really want to know about you. And I'm a guy that has screwed up more than anyone else in this world. And yet every day to me, life is a great adventure. I wake up and I literally think today, what is going to happen? And that mindset has kept me on the bright side of life all my life. I think something amazing every day is going to happen. I absolutely believe it's not made up. And I love wondering what's around the corner.
I absolutely love that. I have a talk called Trade Your Condemnation for Curiosity.
There you go.
We talk about that and how you get up and how you show up and flow through your day. So beautiful. We are close to time. I like to keep these around 20 minutes as much as I can right now. And again, we're going to have you on again, honestly. But I would love to pass it to you for any final thoughts, anything that's coming for you that you want to point people towards, or whatever you feel is on your heart that you want to share with the audience today.
Well, since we're recording this when we are, and I mentioned my stutter, the month of May is National Stutter Awareness Month. So I do speak on this. This is one of my personal causes and passions. I was the kid that read out loud and ran out of the room crying, not only because I couldn't speak, but because the kid literally ridiculed me and bullied me in the classroom in front of the teachers so badly. It was so painful. It was not that I was dumb. My imagination, my reading skills were really good. I just couldn't get it out. It's like when people stutter, it's like someone grabs your tongue or slams on the brake in the car and you cannot get that word out. part of my passion, and we do it every year. I interview other CEOs, stutters, actors, and we talk about the fact this is not a disease. There is no cure. It doesn't mean you're dumb. Part of my mission is to help people understand we're okay. You're the one that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I want people to understand that stutterers are just as smart and bright. Our president is a stutterer, and people do ridicule the man. He's leading our nation. He's leading the world. The stutter has nothing to do about his IQ or anything else. I want to help people to understand it. I want stutterers to understand you can do great things too, just like me, just like Bruce Willis, just like Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it. And so that's literally just around the corner. I'm going to be doing a whole campaign on that. And I would love people to know about it, jump on it. And I've got a whole talk just on stutter to stage about my journey, but how other people have done it as well.
I love that. And the timing of this, I'm going to make sure that we get this out next month, basically for this reason, around the National Stutter Awareness Month is May. I love that. Rich, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your insights and the value that you brought and the wisdom that you brought. It's been a blast. I know we could go longer, but thank you for being here today.
I appreciate it. Thank you once again, Aaron.